He's not just a face on the top of a pint. He's the nation's...
I am mostly.
He's the nation's favourite chat show host turned best-selling novelist. You've sold over 1 million copies of your books worldwide.
That's what they tell me. That is nuts, isn't it?
Gordon Bennett.
Yeah, well, like, it's one of those numbers that it's easy to say, and then you actually think about...
And think about what that actually looks like.
You know, if you're at a Taylor Swift concert, that's, you know...
A fraction of the...
30,000.
Yes.
She's doing the maths. Yeah. Graham Norton is here to celebrate his latest book, Frankie, which is out now.
It is, yeah.
I've been listening to the audiobook.
Have you?
I love it. How on earth do you do all those characters and all those voices? Lots of them are women too. I mean, it's a full extravaganza.
Which does sound, it makes it sound like it'll just be like farcical, but like the book is quite serious. The book is quite serious, so it's trying to find voices that aren't sort of comedy voices, but carried along. And it is mortifying because you're in that little kind of phone booth
yeah,
doing it, and every now and again you'll look up and see the guy on the other side of the glass just really, that's the voice you're doing.
But with all those voices, Kat was saying, did you practice them and plan them? Did you have a producer who kind of went, oh no, that feels that's not quite right?
So previously, when my books were just set in Ireland,
yes,
I just kind of went in and I thought, oh, I'll be fine. But of course, you then run out of Irish accents.
Yeah.
So, you know, the members of the same family would come from totally different bits of the country. So this one, because it's the story of a life, so it travels around. Bits are in Ireland, bits are in London, and there's New York. So this one I did have to plan a bit, and I came up with some of the voices before I went in, yeah.
And then do you listen to it back?
No. OK. No, that's Kat's,
my job.
That's Kat's lovely pleasure.
Would you like me to send you notes from the margin? It's so good. But I think this is quite possibly your most ambitious book as well, because the lead is a female in it too.
It is. I mean, look, I think, I started writing books about 10 years ago, so this is my 5th novel, and I think I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this then.
Yeah.
But now I did, because this is, this involves kind of research, because it's set in the past. It's the story of Frankie's life, and when we meet her, she's an old woman, she's living in East London, she's broken an ankle, and she gets this carer, and the carer is this young guy called Damien, and it turns out he's from the same little bit of West Cork that she is, and that kind of unlocks something in this old lady, and she starts telling her life story to Damien, and that is the book, really. It goes back to West Cork in the late 40s, and then you come with her to London in the kind of swinging 60s, and then there's New York in the 70s and the 80s. And so because of all of those things, I had to do a bit of research around it, do reading around the book, which I kind of enjoyed. I didn't think I would, because that feels like quite grown-up novelist time to do research.
So, and actually, the structure for that has bases where people could look at it and go, well, Graham, that didn't happen in the 40s there, and that didn't happen in New York in the 60s.
No, exactly.
So people can sort of pick
Oh, and they will. Oh, the pleasure they'll take in telling me, no, actually, that word came into vogue.
So when you say you think that you couldn't have done this with your first few books as well, do you look back at those books and kind of go, gosh, I mean, how I wrote that was relatively, in your experience, so naive, and now where it is?
No, I think what I did was I kind of matched the book to my ability, I feel. Like, my first book, it was a cosy crime book because I knew the structure of that. You find a body, halfway through you find another body, at the end, the detective's life's in danger, and then it's all solved. And, so I knew where I was. Whereas this, it is kind of harder to plan because, it's the story of a life. And it was interesting how, lives don't follow the arc of a novel story, so you have to kind of fudge it a bit to fit the story.
And you're about to start a new season of Graham Norton.
This very night.
Are you?
Yeah, tonight, yeah.
Who's on tonight?
Well, it'll be on tomorrow night.
Yes.
But if you want to hang around and say hello, you could say hello to Lady Gaga, Demi Moore, Colin Farrell, Richard Ayoade, and Jack Severetti and Miles Kane.
No one you've ever heard of.
No,
underachievers anonymous.
Just a quiet opening show.
It's good, isn't it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, still amazing.
Yeah, and look, because I just did a book tour and people, were asking questions, and people were asking about the show coming back, and there is a weird bit on that first show back, and I don't know if you guys get this, but when you come into the studio and it feels so familiar, you're in the set, it's really familiar, but at the same time, it's kind of new, and particularly, I've been doing chat shows since 1998.
Yes.
So I've had a much bigger you know, slice of the pie that really I should or that most people get. And so, you know, you're aware of that privilege and aware of kind of like how lucky am I, and also that I still do enjoy it.
But I think the really interesting thing about your show is, yes, you can have all these different guests and all these different really interesting elements, but you never know quite what magic is going to happen on that red
That
couch.
is the bit that keeps me interested, because there's an alchemy. On a good night, there's an alchemy on the couch, and suddenly I have the easiest job in the world. I'm just sat there watching that couch talk to each other and getting on. Other nights, I'm doing some work. I'm really stirring it, trying to make some alchemy happen.
Profusely.
I loved the one where you had to remind Judi Dench that you'd met her in a club.
Poor old Judy.
Not that you're instantly forgettable, Graham. I mean, that's the worry.
No, not that she'd blanked it. Not that she tried to forget it.
But that's an amazing. But that lineup, as soon as you get Lady Gaga, who's just done the Joker film, you've got Colin Farrell, who's just done the Penguin.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a load of superheroes on the sofa to start.
Yeah,
with.
have you watched the Penguin?
Yes, isn't it great?
We've got great. Colin's coming on.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like him.
No, it doesn't look. I mean, it's a magic trick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what keeps you watching, because you're kind of thinking, how is that Colin Farrell?
Yeah, he's on with us on Monday. You've got a big lineup though, because he's gone now. But you've got Jamie coming in as well. There's an amazing sort of thread of guests that you have that want to come back as well, which I think is always testament to how much fun I was going to say contestants, the guests have when they come. Everything's a game show.
Demi Moore, everything to pay for.
Are you going to go for it?
Just what?
You got to risk it? Your other job coming through.
You're a game show host as well now, by the way, so don't go pointing fingers. But I think that's testament to how much fun they clearly have when they come on.
Look, I don't know how much. I mean, do you know what I mean? If it was that much fun, they'd come on every week. But but they obviously don't hate it. They obviously don't have a horrible time, or they wouldn't come back. So yeah, I do take it as a sort of compliment that we get return business.
And are you loving having your weekends free? No more radio show. Does it feel quite indulgent as you roll over it?
It is. It took me a while. You know that kind of thing. Because for a while it feels like you're on holiday.
Yeah.
And
Because you've done weekends for how long? Weekends on the radio?
13 years.
13 years.
13 years.
Radio 2 and then at Virgin.
Yeah, Radio 2, then Virgin. And and I think when you're single, it's fine because it's just working. Then when I was married, it's hard to tell your partner, oh, by the way, we're busy every weekend for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
So
I always think it's a bit annoying having to leave them in bed.
Oh, that's very annoying.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're looking and thinking, oh, I just want to be... I mean, obviously you love the job, but you kind of like, it just reminds you that, Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings are for having a little lie-in.
Yeah. So now that's what they are for.
Do you think you're nicer... No, nice is the wrong word. Do you think you're sort of more generous to the guests now? Because sometimes
Did you see him have to search for that one?
I love the way that when you... I mean, we're talking sort of late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
You would be a little bit more testy with some
It'd be a bit spikier.
Yes.
And I think that was the mood of the time.
Yeah.
That, because we were coming off, I suppose, the back of, remember Clive Anderson and those things, where, the guest, or Dame Edna even, where the guest was the butt of the joke. And now it's very rare that I would put a joke in a question. Now it's the guest, we want the guest to be funny. And it's I agree. I think it's a more generous thing now.
There's a big shift.
Yeah, and also my big thing is to try and make the questions shorter. Like back then the questions would go on for 15 minutes, and people would be going.
In what way? Give us an example.
No, it's that weird thing where you kind of go. So when you were in America, I mean, on the West Coast, I know you've lived on the East Coast, but when on the all just that
and just that's more you qualify.
Yeah, constantly qualifying. It's just like, oh, shut up, shut up.
But you learn from it, though. Did you ever have anything go horribly wrong?
I mean, not really.
No.
I mean, the good thing about our show is if anything goes wrong, it's in.
It's funny.
It's going to be funny and all the thing.
That's the bits that we love now as well.
Yeah.
I remember John Voight once was telling a story about being young, and he made himself cry.
Oh.
We cut that out.
Wow. No one...
Not on our show. No tears on our sofa.
John Voight crying, that's quite a thing. So that's in the archive somewhere. That's in the archive.
Wow,
Do you think at some point you'll write the book about the show?
Oh, wouldn't that's my retirement plan. That's my, the smell of burning bridges. That's on my laptop. Yeah.
We'd be ready. Graham, thank you so much for popping in.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
It's lovely to
So
have you here.
good. heard. His new book is out now, Frankie.
And the new series starts tomorrow night.
That's it.
As ever, and it's just an absolute treat to have you here. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Oh, hello.
Thank
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.